Conduct procurements. This is a process of obtaining seller responses, selecting a seller, and awarding a contract. Inputs to this process include the project management plan, specifically the configuration management plan. If our project has items that are configurable and the seller will interact with them in some type of a way, then we need to go ahead and look at the information on how the sellers will provide configuration information to meet our requirements. Procurement documentation, including what we've come up with as part of the planned procurement management process, including our bid documents, such as the request for information or request for proposal. We'll be using our source selection criteria in this process as we do select a seller. Independent cost estimates will let us know if the seller's bid is realistic and fair. And also our procurement statement of work, the slice of our project scope statement that we are outsourcing to the seller. Finally, we have our seller proposals. This is information that was provided by the bidders, which will be used to evaluate and select one or more successful bidder. Tools and techniques for this process include advertising. Different organizations will be able to advertise in different ways. Some organizations may choose to publish advertisements in general circulation publications, while government agencies will typically have to post it up on a publicly available website. Under data analysis, we'll be using our proposal evaluation techniques. We'll be checking our seller responses to make sure that they meet the requirements that we listed in the bid documents. And from here, we can use our source selection criteria to select a successful seller. The interpersonal and team skills include negotiation. There will be terms and conditions that must be negotiated, along with the structure and obligations of both parties of the contract. Depending on the contract type, negotiations can be protracted. If we start discussing cost reimbursable contracts, then it may be a matter of what constitutes a reimbursable expense. For anything involving an incentive or award fee, we have to come up with those terms and conditions and define them clearly to eliminate any ambiguity that can lead to a claim down the road. If the project sponsoring organization has a centralized purchasing department, the negotiation should be led by a member of the procurement or legal. However, the project manager may be present to provide assistance. If we have a decentralized purchasing, because we're a smaller organization or we just don't do a lot of procurement activities, then the project manager may assume the purchasing authority role to negotiate and sign contracts directly. Effective contract and vendor management techniques. An easy way to look at this is we're going to basically start treating the seller as though they are part of our project team now. We're going to have them abide by the same rules that we abide by. We're going to expect them to do the same things that we do for ourselves, which is made easier if they abide by the same methodology that we do. So as we look at the project progress of scope, schedule, and budget, we are going to expect them to establish detailed plans, including acceptance criteria, acceptable variance ranges, and frequent milestones. Pretty much the same thing that we did as we developed our project management plan. We will expect them to meet regularly to discuss progress, performance, and any issues. Pretty much the same way that we do internal in our own organization. We will require timely formal status reports and the use of a formal integrated change control process, very similar to our own. We will expect quality of deliverables. We will perform structured reviews, and since we are independent of their organization, that would be a structured independent review or a quality audit. We will conduct inspections and demos as deliverables are completed if we are doing some type of iterative delivery. We'd like to plan a quick short-term deliverable review to assess the effectiveness and adjust as necessary. We want to measure quality quantitatively using defects, using the same type of quality metrics that we are using for ourselves, and we will tie payments to meeting the acceptance criteria as defined in the contract. For relationship management, we want to have direct, open, honest, and regular communications with the seller. If we have any issues, then we want to identify and resolve them immediately. They will be listed on the issue log and they will be dealt with accordingly. The seller is part of our team now, so we will involve the sellers in team building activities. We should balance travel between the buyer and seller sites, but we would like to co-locate as best as possible. The same as for the rest of our project team, Co-location allows a better exchange of information. Perform process improvement with the seller is a constant effort to improve efficiency, pretty much the same way that we're doing it within our own project. The outputs from this process, we will have a selected seller. We also have agreements. The agreements will include terms and conditions regarding what the seller is to perform, as well as when and how much the buyer will compensate the seller. It represents a legal relationship that is subject to remedy in courts. We may also have change requests. If we have any updates to our project management plan, this will be done through change requests and formal change control. Project documents updates could include the risk register. If we have completed the transfer or sharing of a threat or opportunity respectively, we'd want to go ahead and document it at this point. However, regardless of the type of procurement activity we're engaging in, we're introducing new risk by modifying the existing plan somehow and partnering with a new organization. The stakeholder register will be updated with the contact information for the newest stakeholders in our project, which is the seller's organization. The resource calendars should be updated to show when the human capital, material, heavy machinery, equipment, or whatever else we are procuring will be available to our project. The requirements traceability matrix will be updated to show that the seller is now responsible for fulfilling certain project requirements. And the lessons learned register will be updated with any information or challenges that we've encountered while conducting these procurements. Organizational process assets updates could include the list of prospective and pre-qualified sellers and information on relevant experience with sellers, both good and bad. Conduct procurements. Learning assessment. Describe the purpose of this process in your own words. The purpose of this process is to obtain goods and services from outside the project. What three things do we accomplish in this process? We have received seller responses, we have selected a seller, and we have awarded a contract. What types of enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets are relevant to this process? EEFs include local laws and regulations, marketplace conditions, and the contract management system. OPAs could include qualified seller lists, policies for seller selection, and templates. Describe the project manager's role in this process. The project manager's role is to assist with and support the negotiations by answering questions and providing information if we have centralized purchasing. For decentralized purchasing, they may be the lead negotiator and the authority for signing the contract. What is the purpose of bidder conferences? A bidder conference promotes efficiency and fairness in the selection process through the removal of any informational asymmetries.